Sweet and sour comic fans, we got some Silver Age goodness for you this week. Some Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Spider-Man coming up here, and away we go. First up, I got issue number 91 of the Fantastic Four. This was when they raised their prices to 15 cents. I believe this is like a 1968 or 69 issue. I'm not a real big fan of Fantastic Four in general. But the producer behind the camera there said, "Dad, we need to diversify just a little bit. We show so much X-Men and Spider-Man. People need to see other stuff." I actually read this, and I am just not a Fantastic Four fan. I know that it's for some people, maybe, but not for me. It's hard to get into, and maybe because it's issue 91. I think the best thing about the Fantastic Four is Doctor Doom. I mean, this was Ben Grimm, the Thing. He was captured by some Skrees or Skrulls or something like that, and then like the next issue, he's going to be put on trial. Biggest reason why I got this book was because it was $7 on eBay. It was Silver Age, and I honestly liked the cover. That's why I got it. There were a few other books, but I'm like, for a good, cheap little Silver Age book, it's okay. It's got a little bit of wear and tear on the spine. A little hole, like right through here. It actually goes through most of the book, unfortunately, but it doesn't affect the story. But, again, what kind of story is it really? Okay, I got to go back and say the other cool character in the Fantastic Four is Galactus and his Herald Silver Surfer. None of that Fire Lord or Terrax crap. Just the Silver Surfer. Okay, so on from that tripe. And I'm sure I'm going to get a couple of comments on that because I'm sure there's some Fantastic Four fans out there. First issue we're going to talk about today, my son Sam picked up, is issue number 54. We got it from our friends at Krypton Comics, and it was the beginning of a story arc, or it was in the middle of the story arc for Dr. Octopus and Peter Parker, a.k.a. Spider-Man. I like this cover. This is just a classic cover from John Romita. And slowly but surely, I think I'm going to become a Spider-Man fan. Again, I liked that first story that I ever read with Peter Parker when the Goblin died, the Green Goblin died. So I think I'll read this story once we get the entire arc, and we'll go from there. Hey, right now it's almost 4th of July, July 2nd. We got people outside shooting fireworks off. Want to have a shout out to all my subscribers and anybody viewing this out there. Happy 4th of July. And we've got another firework of a book coming up next. This is personally one of my favorite Spider-Man covers. Amazing Spider-Man 55, the old double nickel. This is part 3 of that Doc Ock story. And the first time I ever saw this cover was only, it was probably 2 or 3 months ago when my son Sam really got serious into collecting, and we tried going after one of these books. And I thought, man, that is one of the coolest covers I've ever seen. That whole close-up of Doc Ock with Spider-Man in his glasses and the reflection. Thought it was just classic. Sam and I have already talked about this, and we're going to get, I believe it's the 4th one, which is issue 56 of this story arc, and it's the final part of that story arc. So first appearance of Captain Stacy, and once we get that, we're going to read it together, and then we're going to critique it together. He might come out from behind the camera when we're critiquing this. I can't promise that. You know, sometimes directors and producers, they're a little fickle in what they're going to do. But either way, I'll tell you how he rated it, and I'll tell you how I rated it. I'm a big sucker, though, for the old Silver Age stuff in general. And I know I don't like Fantastic Four very much, but I bet I'm going to like these Spider-Mans. All right, so the next thing we're going to go to is we're going to go to some of these old X-Men issues from the Silver Age that I got this past week. Both of them were off of eBay, and both of them were after I told my lovely bride that I'd stop getting books for the month because I picked up issue 101. The first one is issue 41. This is an interesting issue right here. It's the X-Men fight the Subhuman, which is really kind of a weird, just kind of one-off story. I had the reprint of it that they did in the early 70s, and the art on the front was completely different from what they have now. One of the really interesting things about this is whoever the seller was, they had this thing double bagged, and the second bag was really brown and tinged. Sam opened this up when it came here. I was at work, and he said, "You are not going to believe this thing when you get it." When they posted this thing, it had the front and it had the back and nothing else. They didn't show the pages. There was no other description. And I kind of saw it and I was like, it's kind of a ruddy looking issue. I said, but I kind of need it as a filler just for right now, just to round out my collection. Because now I'm down to only 38 issues I need to get that full volume 1 X-Men run. But he pulled it out of the bag and he said, it's just about perfect. He said, "Dad, you are not going to believe this thing when you get home. There's a small tear right down here. It's about 2 centimeters long. If it didn't have that tear, this book would probably be a 9.92. There is not one wrinkle in this book, just that little tear. The pages are white still. The cover, like sharp corners, no spine ticks, no spine wear. It's securely attached. Just a great book, and it shows really, really well. Even Sam was like, that's a pretty cool cover once it came in. Okay, so unlike our last candidate here, nice little book, I've also picked up, and I didn't think I was going to win this. My son and I were on the way to the gym, and I went, oh crap. I said, is that issue, has that auction ended for this issue yet? And Sam pulled it up, and he says, nope. He says, there are 4 minutes left. I said, but what's this thing going for right now? And he's like, $43. And I said, 43. And this again was a book that I probably shouldn't have been bidding on because I had just made a big purchase. And I was like, man, it's an early issue. I said, there's no way I'm going to get this thing. So I said, Sam, I said, put in $56.11. Just kind of a weird off-the-wall number. And Sam didn't even do that. He was like, in his own head, he was like, no way. He put $53 in. And I ended up actually winning the book. And it was pretty funny because he said, I think you're going to win, Dad. I said, no, I'm not. Somebody else will bid on this thing. And he goes, no, I think you're going to. And then he goes, nope, you won it. And I was like, oh boy. So what I won was X-Men number 9, which I can't believe I won it, but I did win it. And it is definitely not like 41 that I got. It is pretty rough. Pages are not white. They are almost I don't know what light tan. It was super dirty when I got it. I cleaned it up a little bit. The whole story was there. The centerfold was detached. I did end up reattaching the centerfold. I still have to work on that a little, though. It's a little loose on the top staple still. And then the only other defect is up here. This chunk is missing out of the cover. Kind of detracts from it a little bit, but the book's in rough shape anyway. Sam and I were actually kind of laughing over it because it is an investment still, and it's a love that I have to try and get this all tied together. But we couldn't believe, for the shape of the book was in, that the cover was actually still attached to the rest of the comic book. But the cover is actually really secured to the book. It's got some heavy spine wear. And like I said, that middle page was kind of falling out. And I got that reattached. And there's also another page in there that has about a 1-inch tear at the bottom. But the whole book is there. Even the pinup is still there. And it's really funny because I see guys like using rubber gloves and stuff on books. This one I don't need to use rubber gloves on. It is definitely a filler. Someday I'll probably have a better copy of this. But one of the really cool things is that the pinup, which they used to put in Marvel Comics a lot, the pinup is still there. And it's one of my favorite characters, Marvel Girl, who turns into the Phoenix. And then the Dark Phoenix, of course. So I'm pretty happy with this, even though it's in really, really rough shape. I want you guys to know that I am well on my way to finishing up this series. I'm thinking it's probably going to be another couple years because those first 4 issues that I have to get are going to be pretty pricey. But I want you guys to remember that I'm doing this for you guys and for myself and for my son. And I want you to subscribe and like these videos. Get your friends to like and subscribe to my little channel. And watch us on Instagram also. Hey guys, so I hope you liked the Silver Age comics that we picked up this week. It's not always going to be just Silver Age, obviously. Last week we had some Bronze Age and some Moderns. But again, we really like doing this channel for you. I want everybody to have a happy and safe 4th of July. And we will see you next week.